We are now on page 30 of your working file, the subject of duplicate and distribute. Now we are going to do 4 lessons on this page. First of all, we are going to discuss duplication. Then we are going to look at the subject of distribution. That's the even distancing of objects. Then we are going to put together the sample file, and finally we are going to do the business card. So let's start with duplicate. Well, I am going to look at plus first of all. Now I have used this many times, as you know, plus on my keyboard, and it created a duplicate. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now type 4, so I can create 4 duplicates, and they are all perfectly aligned on top of each other. Now, as I have said to you before, if you don't have plus because you are using a laptop, then of course you can use Control-C. So copy, Control-C, and then Control-V, paste back down, Control-C, Control-V, let you create a duplicate in the same way. Moving along, this is an interesting one. If I selected an object and I move the object and then tab my spacebar while holding down my left mouse button, I have created a duplicate. And the nice thing about it is you have got control of where the duplicate is going to be placed, which is quite handy. Always remember that you don't need to tap for your last time. Just replace. I mean, just release your mouse button because you have got a duplicate hanging on to. Have a play with that one. It's quite good. This is an interesting one, and again the advantage here is that you can left-click and drag. Now right-click your mouse and see the little plus appears next to the arrow. If I release, I have created a duplicate. I will let go of that. Now I will do that again. Right-click. Now if I let go, I have a duplicate. However, if I right-click again, the plus will now be gone. So no longer do I have a duplicate, but I am just moving the original. When I let go, I have moved my original from there to there because I didn't duplicate it. So, one more time. Left-click, right-click, create a duplicate, or right-click to create a duplicate, change your mind, release, and all you have done is move your object. And the last one, Control-D, which is why I will spend a bit more time because you will use this quite a lot, particularly with your amplifier. Control-D is create a duplicate. However, it has some parameters that will always be applied. Those parameters, first of all, exist up here on the property bar. Duplicate distance, and right now we have got 5 mm on the X and 5 on the Y. This is not my first time for using Control-D, but for you it may be. So if you do, when you select an object and go to Control-D, you might find that the dialog box comes up now asking you what is the offset distance that you want to set. Just set it to 5 and 5, or it might already be there, and click OK. Once you have done once, it won't come out again. Now, as you can see, based on the parameters up here on the property bar, the duplicate is 5 mm along in the X and 5 mm up in the Y. We can change that. Let's change this to, say, 15. So it will move along 15 and up 5. Select and Control-D so it's move along and up. Let me just exaggerate a little bit more for you. Deselect. You can't have anything selected to see it on the property bar. Let's go with, say, 25 and 10. Select and Control-D so it's moved along 25 and up 10. So that gives you the ability to accurately say where you want your duplicate to go. We can take this further because Control-D and the whole offset distance thing, well, you can make, I should say, well, kind of customize this on the fly. I will show you how. If I create a duplicate by using, say, plus, or one of these are the ones, in fact, I will use this one here. So I will click and drag my mouse and I will just move this down there. Right-click to create a duplicate and release. Now here is what's important. Do not deselect. While that duplicate is selected, the offset distance that I customized on the fly, then Control-D, will remember it. So if I go to Control D, now see, duplicate that customized distance. Let me show you again. This time I will use plus on my keyboard and I will move that up there. Control D, and it will reproduce that duplicate distance. Make sense? Well, we can take this a little bit further. I am going to plus on my keyboard, move that over a little bit, and I am going to, in fact, I am going to rotate this time, and I am going to rotate 15 degrees. So click finger on Control, constraint to 15-degree increments, C15, do not deselect. Now Control D, watch it, and every duplicate is rotating by 15 degrees. See that? 15, 30, 45, and so on. So I am rotating my objects by 15 degrees. Let's take this even further now. Plus on my keyboard, move that over there, so I will just pop that to say there. Now this time I am going to rotate the other way 15 degrees, but I am also going to shrink down the size, shrink down by 20%. So I will make this one 80, okay? So that's my 100%, that's 80%. What do you think the duplicate will be? So Control D, see how it's moved in the same direction. It's rotated 15 degrees. It's also decreased by further 20%, and so on. Isn't that cool? Now watch this. As I keep going past the 0 point, it comes back at the other side and starts to increase. But look, it's the reverse. It's actually going in the reverse direction, and the rotation point is in the reverse direction, and so it is a rather interesting looking effect. I want to go into a little reason why. I just want to show it to you. So isn't that kind of cool, the way Control D works? Now we are going to use that principle as we cradle those little spaces and sizing there between for archive as we go along. So what I want you to do now is to go ahead and have a play with everything you see me do. All these Control Ds, pluses, and using mouse and spacebar, etc. Come back. We are going to look at the distribution, the evenly spacing of objects, and then we are going to do the amplifier.